Recording.
So can you briefly tell us a bit about your childhood?
Born in Kalispell, Montana. Actually attended school at Cayuse Prairie Elementary School. From there I went to Flathead High School, graduated from Flathead High School. So I grew up here locally, about 18 miles away from Bigfork High School, and happy to be here. I guess growing up, one of the things that I had dreamt about being, or becoming, was a fish and life game warden. And the idea of being outside, I'm an avid hunter and fisherman, and the idea of doing that every day was just very appealing. And then the reality of understanding what that job is you're not out there just enjoying the great outdoors every day. You're checking on people, and you're doing research, and you're doing those things. I was less interested in that. And then, to be honest with you, I wasn't one of those high school kids that had a plan that said, from your freshman year, decided this is what I'm going to be, and then you do everything to make it happen. I was one of those students that didn't have a plan, and it was at the end of the year, my senior year, when the counselor was saying, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? You better make a decision, because it's going to happen pretty quickly. And I still had no idea. And I had a basketball coach that kind of found out that I didn't really have a specific plan. He said, hey, I know some people in North Dakota, and maybe you should tour their campuses and see if you can play basketball there. So I said, you know what, that sounds like a better idea than the one I currently have, which was nothing. And that's what got me going. And then from there, in college, I really explored a couple different fields and found that education was the place I needed to be. I had an observation class when I was a freshman in college at Williston State, and I observed in a second grade classroom. And I was able to work with some students, and they matched me up with some kids that were struggling learners. And I worked with them, and then from that point, I knew that I wanted to be in education. And I actually started pursuing elementary education, and then had an opportunity to visit some high schools, and was really passionate about social studies. And so from there, decided to go secondary route, social studies teacher. I started college at Williston State in North Dakota, and I think the only reason I could go to North Dakota was they let me play basketball. So I was on a basketball scholarship there for my freshman year. And then I started dating a beautiful woman, and she was on a full-ride track scholarship at the University of Montana. And it made more sense for me to follow her than for her to follow me to North Dakota. So I transferred to the University of Montana, and she is now my wife. So it was a very good choice for myself. Ran track for the university in Missoula for a year, and then decided that I was just going to crack down and hit the books. So I finished at the University of Montana with a degree in Broadfield Social Studies with a teaching endorsement. My career, I've been very blessed to have great mentors. My first mentor was John Little, student taught under him in government econ. And I really set that up as the ideal, and that was my dream job. So I taught with him for 3 years. I'll back up. Student taught with him. The next year they had 2 openings. And I got one of the teaching jobs, and I got the world history teaching assignment. So student taught here, Bigfork High School. First year teaching, got an assignment, worked next door to my mentor, John Little. Ideal situation, taught with him for 3 years. And then he retired, and I moved into the government econ position.
Excellent. So now that you have graduated from teaching and are now a principal, how do you deal with, and how do you feel about the responsibilities and that come with being a principal of a high school especially?
The responsibility associated with a principal, it is different than being in a classroom. You just deal with a lot more delicate situations, and you get to know fewer families, but you get to know them a lot better. It is the most humbling experience of my life. And people have elevated, you even in your question have elevated the idea of moving up to a principal position. And this job is more about service than it is anything else. And I think that's just a misconception of what people think it means to lead. And hopefully my leadership is marked by just serving teachers and serving students. And it doesn't always appear that way because we have to make decisions. But really, I'm just very humbled by the opportunity where I get to come to work every day and work with teachers that are so dedicated to making things better for their students. And then I have to deal with, unfortunately, a lot of negative situations. But in turn, I want to I want to deal with those in a service way, where we're making decisions that's in the best interests of students. And, you know, it's not what's popular, and it's not what's political, and it's just in the best interests of students. And that's been probably the most humbling aspect of the whole experience.
Wow.
There wouldn't be one moment that is specifically the best moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful that I wake up in the morning and I'm excited to go to work. And I really feel like this is the place where I need to be, and that I just love that I'm excited about it. We get to work with every single student as comparison to like anybody in other professions, you know, a doctor. They get to work with somebody that's sick, maybe at the end of their life, or work to cure you know, disease that affects a minimum amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
We get to work with every single person when they come in, and the responsibility that comes with that is extremely humbling, but it's exciting. You know, the energy that you have when you work with students, young people like yourself, and then teachers. There isn't a group of people that are more excited about what they do than teachers, and it's just fun to be part of that atmosphere. You know, if you were to ask me 10 years ago to go back and project where I'd see myself in 10 years, I would have missed the mark by 100 miles anyway. So to ask me now where I see myself in 10 years, you know, I really have no idea. I want to be in education right now, and I know that I feel very strongly about that. I don't see myself ever getting out of education, but within that spectrum, I'm just happy to have a job and work in this field, and wherever that takes me, I'm happy. I really want to stay in Bigfork and love the opportunities that I've had here. Mm-hmm. So hopefully it's in Bigfork in a position working with students.
Excellent. Awesome. Well, thank you very much. That concludes the interview.
Yeah,
but
thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.